2026 prophecy, Tozer reveals the idol blocking your financial miracle. It was a cold November night in 1961. I was sitting alone in my church in Chicago, long after everyone had gone home. The lights were dim, the room was silent, and in that silence, God showed me something that broke my heart. He showed me that most of His people were not poor because of the devil. They were not poor because of bad luck. They were poor because of something far closer, far more dangerous, something they had placed on the altar themselves, without ever knowing it. I have seen the idol, and the worst part, you built it with your own hands. I know why you're here. You've been praying, consistently, faithfully. You've given when it was hard to give. You've believed when it was hard to believe. And yet, the financial breakthrough you've been standing on hasn't arrived. The promotion, the open door, the business that finally works. You've asked God 100 times, what am I missing? Why not yet? I want to tell you something that took me decades to understand. It's not your faith that's failing you. It's something hidden beneath your faith. Something most preachers will never talk about because it's uncomfortable, because it lives too close to home. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you 3 things. First, why sincere faith alone is not enough to release financial blessing. Second, the 4 hidden idols that are silently blocking the miracle you've been waiting for. And third, a simple, practical path to dissolve every one of them. Starting today. What comes into our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us, and what comes into our minds about money reveals the idol we've been hiding. I want to tell you about a woman I'll call Ruth. She was 34 years old when she first came to my church. Quiet, devoted, the kind of woman who arrived early and stayed late. She tithed faithfully, even in the months when it meant eating less. She fasted every first week of the month. She kept a prayer journal. She memorized scripture. By every visible measure, Ruth was doing everything right. And yet, year after year, the financial pressure never lifted. Doors opened and closed. Opportunities appeared and disappeared. She watched people around her prosper, people who prayed less, gave less, believed less, or so it seemed. And one evening she sat across from me in my office, hands folded in her lap, and asked the question I had heard 100 times before. Brother Tozer, what am I doing wrong? I looked at her for a long moment, and I said, Ruth, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think you're carrying something you don't know you're carrying. She looked at me confused, and that's when I explained what I'm about to explain to you. The idol is not what most people think it is. When people hear the word idol, they picture something obvious, something external, a golden statue, a false religion, a clear and visible sin. But in all my years of ministry, in Chicago, in Toronto, in every city God sent me, I discovered something far more dangerous. The most powerful idols are the ones that don't look like idols at all. They look like wisdom, they look like caution, they look like responsibility, they look like you. The Apostle Paul warned us about this. He said the heart is a factory of idols, constantly producing, constantly replacing, constantly disguising. And the most devastating product of that factory is not the idol you know about. It's the one operating silently, in the background, below the surface of your conscious faith. I spent years studying the human soul, not as a psychologist, but as a man who knelt before God long enough to hear what God said about human nature. And what God showed me was this: most people are not blocked from financial blessing because they lack faith. They are blocked because beneath their faith there is a competing loyalty, a hidden allegiance, something they trust more than God, without ever having made that choice consciously. The labor of self-love is a heavy one indeed. Think how many hours are spent every day in doing honor to ourselves. Think how many decisions, financial decisions, career decisions, relationship decisions are quietly shaped not by what God said, but by what we fear, what we crave, and what we refuse to release. That competing loyalty, that hidden allegiance. That is the idol. And until it is named, surrendered and removed from the altar of your heart, the miracle will wait. Not because God is withholding, but because a divided altar cannot receive an undivided blessing. The first idol has no golden face. It has no altar you can see, no temple you can point to. It lives in a single sentence, whispered so quietly inside you that you've mistaken it for truth. People like me don't prosper. Maybe it came from your childhood. A father who worked hard and never got ahead. A mother who said, "We can't afford that," so many times. It became a theology. Maybe it came from a failure so painful that your soul made a silent vow. I won't reach for that again. Whatever planted it, it grew. And now it operates beneath every prayer you pray. Beneath every step of faith you take, you ask God for the miracle with your mouth. But somewhere deeper, a quieter voice is already canceling the request. I called this the idol of self-punishment. A false humility that doesn't trust God's generosity. It dresses itself as modesty, as contentment, as not being materialistic. But underneath, it is simply this: a soul that does not believe it deserves to receive. I've seen it destroy more destinies than open rebellion ever could, because at least the rebel knows he's fighting. The man carrying the scarcity idol thinks he's being humble before God, when in truth, he is insulting the very nature of the Father who said, "I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." God is not honored by your smallness. He is honored by your surrender to the bigness He placed in you. The second idol is more sophisticated than the first. It doesn't whisper that you're unworthy. It whispers something far more convincing. Not yet. The timing isn't right. Wait until everything is in order. I know this idol well, because I wrestled with it myself. In my early years of ministry, I would pray for direction, and then spend weeks analyzing every possible outcome before taking a single step. I told myself I was being wise, being responsible, honoring God with careful discernment. But one morning, alone in prayer, God asked me a question I was not prepared for. Tozer, who told you that you needed to understand before you could obey? That question shattered something in me, because the truth was, I wasn't waiting on God. God was waiting on me. The control idol is perhaps the most common idol among intelligent, capable, faithful people. They plan beautifully. They prepare thoroughly. They pray consistently. And still, nothing moves. Because they have made their understanding a requirement for God's action. They will step out in faith, but only once they can see the entire staircase. And faith, by its very nature, only ever shows you the next step. I wrote once that faith is the gaze of a soul upon a saving God, not a calculation of favorable conditions, not a spreadsheet of acceptable risks. A gaze, simple, surrendered, still. Your plan is not your protection. Your plan, held too tightly, becomes the ceiling on your miracle. The third idol doesn't announce itself with pride. It arrives quietly, in a single moment of scrolling, of watching, of noticing. Someone else got the promotion you prayed for. Someone else launched the business you dreamed about. Someone else is living the life you asked God for. And they don't even seem to be trying as hard as you. And in that moment, something shifts inside you. Not into motivation, not into faith, into something darker, something hollow, a slow, silent worship of another person's calling at the expense of your own. I once knew a man in my congregation, gifted beyond measure, a natural leader, a man whose calling was written all over him. In 5 years, he changed direction 3 times, not because God redirected him, but because every time someone else appeared more successful, more validated, more celebrated, he abandoned his lane and chased theirs. He spent a decade building someone else's destiny because he never trusted that his own was enough. Comparison does that. It doesn't just steal your joy. It rewires your direction. It makes you a follower of trends instead of a carrier of purpose. I warned my generation, and I warn you now. The man who measures his calling by another man's results has already lost his way. You were not assigned their path. You were assigned yours. And your financial miracle is attached to your obedience, not to your performance in someone else's race. The fourth idol is the most seductive of all because it doesn't feel like sin. It feels like rest, like peace, like self-care. It speaks in the language of reasonableness. You've worked hard. You deserve a break. This is too difficult. Maybe it's not God's will. Maybe the closed door is a sign. I watched an entire generation build their theology around comfort. They shaped a version of God who existed primarily to make them feel safe, feel warm, feel undisturbed. And every time discomfort arrived, every time the process demanded something painful, they interpreted it as a wrong turn, when in truth, it was the right one. I wrote once that the cross is rough and it is deadly, sustenance, but it is effective. God does not plant difficulty in your life to punish you. He plants it to position you. Every miracle I have ever witnessed, in scripture, in ministry, in the lives of ordinary men and women, came on the other side of a discomfort that was almost unbearable. The financial door you've been praying for is not locked. It is simply located somewhere you have been unwilling to walk, not because you are weak, but because the idol of comfort has been quietly convincing you that the path is wrong. Every time the path gets hard, ease is not a fruit of the Spirit. Surrender is. And your miracle has always been waiting on the other side of the discomfort you keep avoiding. Now I want to give you something practical, not a feeling, not an inspiration that fades by morning. A path, 3 steps, tested in the fire of real lives, real failures, real breakthroughs. If you've recognized yourself in any of the 4 idols I described, the scarcity, the control, the comparison, the comfort, then what I'm about to share is for you, not tomorrow, tonight. The first step is this: name it, sit in silence, away from your phone, away from noise, and ask yourself one honest question. What do I love more than God right now? Not what you're supposed to love, not what sounds spiritual. What do you actually reach for when fear arrives? What do you actually trust when the future feels uncertain? Your honest answer, the one that rises before you can edit it, that is the idol. I have learned that the idol loses half its power the moment it is named. Darkness cannot survive the light of an honest soul. Name it. Write it down if you must. Speak it aloud. The idol is not you, and it does not have to stay. The second step is this: surrender it. This is the prayer I prayed in my own darkest seasons. I offer it to you now. Lord, I release my craving for security that doesn't come from you. I release my need to control the outcome. I release the approval of men. I release the comfort that has kept me small. Take the altar back. Every corner of it. It belongs to you. Pray it slowly. Mean every word, not as a formula, but as a genuine act of relinquishment. God does not respond to religious performance. He responds to honest surrender. And the moment you stop managing him, he starts moving on your behalf. The third step is this: receive in silence, not with a deadline, not with conditions, with open hands, with a quiet expectation that does not demand a schedule. I've seen God move in ways that made no natural sense, the moment a soul finally stopped gripping and simply opened. Miracles do not respond to pressure. They respond to surrender. Your financial miracle is not held in a boardroom somewhere. It is held in the hands of a Father who has been waiting, not for the right moment, but for the right posture in you. Do you remember Ruth, the woman I told you about at the beginning? The one who prayed faithfully for years and never saw the breakthrough arrive. I want to tell you how her story ended. She didn't receive a sudden check in the mail. She didn't wake up one morning to find her debts erased. What happened was quieter than that, and far more permanent. She sat alone one evening, just like I sat alone in that church in Chicago in 1961. and she named her idol. It was the scarcity shadow, the voice that had whispered since childhood, "People like you don't get to have more." She named it, she wrote it down, she prayed the prayer of surrender, and she wept, not from sadness, from relief. 3 months later, a door opened. Not a dramatic door, a simple one. An opportunity she would have talked herself out of before, a step she would have been too afraid to take, a conversation she would have avoided. This time, she walked through it, because the idol was gone, and the hands that had always been closed in fear were finally open. I want to leave you with the words that have guided my entire life of ministry. God is looking for people through whom He can do the impossible. What a pity we plan only the things we can do by ourselves. Stop planning what you can manage. Start surrendering what you cannot. Your miracle is not late. It has been waiting, patiently, faithfully, lovingly, for the version of you that finally arrived today. That person is you. Right now, in this moment, which shadow did you recognize today? Leave one word in the comments below. Share this with someone who has been waiting too long, and come back, because next week we go even deeper.